Welcome to Farm Connections with your host, Dan Hoffman.
We're at the Hormel Nature Center near Austin, Minnesota to learn a little bit more about forestry and how it impacts our community in our area. And with me is Kurt Hinz to help us with that story. Kurt is with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Kurt, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here, Dan.
Well, tell us about your work with the DNR.
Well, I work out of the Lewiston office there, and I'm an assistant supervisor as well as the timber program forester.
So, how long have you been with the DNR?
I'm going on my 34th year now.
Wow. You've seen some highlights in that 34 years.
I have. It's been a great career. Enjoyed it.
Well, it's great to have a resource like you and your agency, the Department of Natural Resources. Let's say a farmer or a non-farmer, either one, has a concern about their woods, what to do about it, how to make it better, or even how to implement a woodland. What would you do?
I would have them call their nearest DNR forestry office. They could do a visit over the phone with the forester, kind of tell them what their issues or concerns are. We may be able to come out and do a site visit and walk their woods with them, give some ideas on management. We may be able to send them some materials through the mail that they could study up on and call us again if they have more questions. Sometimes we refer them to private consulting foresters as well, if that makes sense.
Well, tell us about our geographical area. We're in Mower County right now, and we're kind of on the edge of prairie meeting big woods, right?
Right. Yeah, we're kind of losing the woods here. I work a lot more in the counties closer to the Mississippi River. They're a little more heavily wooded, but there's still some valuable wood lots out this way as well, and some precious wooded areas along the streams that help prevent erosion. And so woods are still important here too.
Well, some families use them for recreation, some use them for income, some use them as a legacy to leave to the next generation. So let's go back to that family that calls you and says, Kurt, we've got a woodland, we've been approached by a person that wants to buy, say, hardwoods or wood or lumber out of our woods. What do you do? What's next?
Well, first thing we'd probably do is walk their woods with them to see if, yes, their trees really are mature and need to be cut. We'd give them ideas on options for cutting. People are always concerned about doing a clear cut and that it's going to look horrible, but it can be done in phases, or there can be patch cutting done. With certain species you can do select cutting. It just depends on your particular stand of trees. So we would talk about that, talk about the logging process, how to get in touch with the logger.
And how is timber priced?
Priced in this part of the state, we sell it per 1,000 board feet. So the lower value species like cottonwood or aspen might go for $25 a thousand. Something like red oak may go $700,000 per 1,000 board feet, and black walnut even higher than that. So it varies according to the species and the quality of the wood.
Big contrast.
Yeah, there's a big difference. So
would it also depend on how many branches are on the trunk for quality, if there's knots or?
Well, of course, the diameter of the tree is very important, and then the height, the number of logs. We measure logs at 16 foot, and then also half logs we count. So you need to have at least an 8-foot half log in a tree for it to be merchantable. And then you don't want a lot of branch scars, cracks, rot. There's quite a myriad of defects out there that can affect the quality of it and the price that you'd eventually get for the logs.
So how many board feet would be in a 70-foot tree that's about 2 foot in diameter?
I would say in the neighborhood of 200 board feet. So that would be 20% of a 1,000 board feet. So if you're offered $700 per 1,000, it would be 20% at that 700.
It's about $140.
Correct. Yeah.
What kind of reclamation or reforestation plan would you put in place with that person after those valuable timber has been taken out of the woods?
Sometimes you can actually start before the sale. You can you go through and do a little bit of inventory and see how much regeneration is coming up already. and then you can supplement that with hand planting, and that can be done before the sale. We do that quite a bit on our state properties. We'll go in and plant hundreds of hardwood seedlings per acre, and then hopefully the canopy will be removed within a year or two, and then those trees will be ready to take off. But you can also plant after the sale has occurred, and we recommend, usually in the neighborhood of 500, 600 trees per acre. So you kind of flood the area with seedlings, and we realize that you'll lose some to deer and other animals that are going to munch on them, but hopefully you'll get a good percentage of coming through.
Let's take a walk into your office.
Sounds great.
Kurt, do you feel more comfortable in the new office?
I feel great in here, yeah. I'm at home here.
This is beautiful.
It is a beautiful stand of woods, yeah.
So we've got a wonderful canopy, upper canopy. Tell us what we're looking at.
Well, you've got some really large bur oak here. I noticed some white oak, kind of a mid-canopy or understory of basswood trees. So a nice mix. They look pretty healthy.
It's great. And of course it's giving us a nice air-conditioned feel.
Yes, it feels about 10 degrees cooler in here, doesn't it?
How does this parcel of woods fit into the bigger ecosystem that you work with?
Well, this is along a river corridor, and again, it would make a good travel corridor for wildlife. The erosion protection that it offers here. This woods here has probably been around for over 100 years, I would say. The older trees are possibly ready to be harvested. They don't live forever either, so a lot of times I do have to talk people into harvesting when they'd maybe rather not. But it's a renewable crop, so they're not gonna. The woods will return one day, so it's not a bad thing either to harvest when the trees are mature.
What happens if you go past the prime time for harvesting a tree?
Well, you will start to lose some of the value from the wood as it starts to rot and decay inside the tree. Also, we do get some stump sprouting from trees as another method to regenerate, and as the trees get older, they tend to not stump sprout as well too. So it's another reason not to let it go too far, to harvest a little bit younger age.
What other things economically are important from wood or forests?
Well, there are some specialty crops that come from the woods too. People pick ginseng, mushrooms, berries. Other parts of the state, they're after birch bark, balsam boughs, things like that. So there's a lot of specialty crops too, not just wood that comes from the forest.
What special threats do the woods have?
Well, insect and disease problems are always an issue. We're very concerned about emerald ash borer moving into the state. It's already here. It goes after and kills any kind of ash tree. And Minnesota has more ash trees than any other state, so that's a big concern.
Well, I like that you have a resource in your office and yourself that we can call on when we have questions about forests and about woodland management. But I'd also like to just take a walk through the prairie and show the contrast from what we are here. Both are important, but let's go take a look at that prairie.
Sure, let's do that.
Well, Kurt, we're certainly looking at something different.
Certainly is, and when this area was first settled, you would have had a lot of prairie like this and also oak savanna habitat. But diversity is great, and this is quite a contrast to where we just were.
It's warmer, it's breezier, and there's different plants. What are we looking at?
Different plants. You'll also have different animals that use this area. Turkeys will be out here displaying. There's a lot of different insects that animals will feed on. Probably hundreds of different prairie plants in here. Just lots and lots of diversity, which is a good thing.
Kurt, when we were in the woods, you mentioned patch clearing as a way to take out a portion of the forest and then regenerate. Would that look similar to what we're looking at here?
Well, this would probably be a little bit bigger than most patch cuts and certainly a lot cleaner looking. But yeah, this is the general idea, is that you'd open up a spot where you'd get a lot of sunlight to the ground and get those sun-loving species coming back, and particularly oaks.
And you mentioned oak savanna. Tell us a little more about that.
Oak savanna was a type of habitat with scattered oak trees, mainly bur oak, but a few, pin oak and white oak as well. It's kind of a unique habitat. There'd be native shrubs as well mixed in there, and it varied quite a bit from, just 2 or 3, 4 trees to the acre to, maybe 30% canopy cover. So it kind of was variable, but quite common around here when it was first settled.
Well, thanks for the work you do, and thanks for sharing about the ecosystems in and around us.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Kurt.